My name is Danny Manriquez, and this is my autobiography on my racialized body. Some of my first memories of becoming aware of my racial or ethnic differences and my place in my racial and ethnic group came from elementary school and also before elementary school. I was raised in Long Beach in the city downtown, and I was raised in traditionally Hispanic and Cambodian and African American neighborhoods, and so diversity was everywhere. And myself being a multicultural, individual, it really blended the lines of race and ethnic background for me, as well as the fact that all my friends came from different places and we spent time with each other. Race was a little bit more abstract, but I know that it became apparent when I went to school and I seen the differences in the friendships made and the connections that some students had with other students, who lived in other areas. This just became apparent as a caste system, and I don't think that I really saw it as a racial connection. Growing up, my family really never talked about race, not specifically, although I knew I was Mexican and Filipino and Guamanian. We didn't really have a lot of traditions that came from each of these cultures that we shared. We kind of shared the traditional American holidays and some of the traditional Hispanic, Mexican holidays, but we didn't celebrate all of them. I think the most clear moment of becoming aware of my racial body was actually a moment when that I had with my great grandmother, who was from Jalisco, Mexico, and didn't speak any English, and I didn't speak any Spanish, so we had a communication issue. I had been dating a African American girl, and I brought her home, and my grandmother was, traditional values, and didn't understand, me dating outside of my race. And though we didn't speak the same language, I knew that, what she was saying. And it was the first time that, I felt moved enough to stand for what I believed in and challenge the authority of somebody that I loved and respected for something. And it really woke my eyes up to the inaccuracies of racial and ethnic heritage that we have about other cultures. I think that a lot of other families have a tendency to show a little bit more pride in where their families come from, whether that's race or ethnicity or culture. I think that they tend to be a little bit more prideful and celebrate. But I do understand that part of the reason why my father was afraid to share some of the culture with us, including speaking Spanish in the home, was because of his fear of how we would be treated if we had spoke Spanish and, become students who were placed in classes with English as a second language. I think not having learned Spanish has had a really big impact on the direction of my life. It's really closed doors that I could have taken, and potential, connections that I could have made with other people. From the beginning, I've really not seen race as a real thing. I've had friends of many different cultures and ethnicities, and none of the stereotypes that I've heard about people have been true consistently, and I've decided to judge people on their merits as I have through most of my life. Throughout my life, through my experiences and through school, I have gradually added to my understanding about race and ethnicities, and it has evolved over the years into what I currently feel, which is, my understanding that race is a man-made construct and that it is used for political aspirations and goals. Growing up in Long Beach is a melting pot of cultures and ethnicities and identities, and sexual orientations. And growing up in the time frame that I did, there was a lot of racial conflict in the schools that I attended. So they definitely influenced my ideas of race, ethnicity, and racism. I've been called many different names by peers, by adults, by police officers, derogatory names. I've had pretty, traumatizing experiences, I think, for most people to have experienced with people in positions of power over us. And this has been true throughout my entire life, throughout my adolescent teen years into my adult years. I have been racially profiled. I've been accused of crimes I did not commit. I've been verbally harassed. I've been accused of being a gang member, a thief, a criminal, and so much more. I believe that the democratic changes that are currently underway in this administration will affect my experiences and attitudes towards race, ethnicity, and racism, because they already are. I currently see far too much uninformed and blatant prejudice in everyday interactions, and I do not see it getting any better. I think that racism is becoming more of a problem in the United States, and I think that it is a problem that needs to be solved, and that the way that we're going to solve these problems are going to be new ways, as these traditional ways that we have employed have shown their ineffectiveness and have created more division in a country that is based and built on the backs of many different cultures, races, and ethnicities.